say we have our wave come down, goes over here. Maybe it hits a spot, maybe it hits a spot, and maybe there's a little X that marks that spot. With the rest of our paint, we're going to come up, we're going to guide our wave right to the top, grab it, rotate over. Take this guy, flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it. The more you want, right? The more you do, the more you do. Take this guy, rotate him out. Now, what do we call that little piece over there? Because I forget sometimes, guys. You guys got to tell me what we call it. What do we call it? The pivot point, says Carrie Neal. 100% accurate. We call it the pivot point, right? Now, what we're going to do is I'll show you why we call it the pivot point exactly. Do the same thing. Right from here, we're going to start to slide back our color towards our little oceany wave coming in from the next bit, right? Grabbing it at the line, sliding it back. Slide it back, slide it back, slide it back. Now, once we reach over here, and we've reached our first little spot, this is why we call it the pivot point, because we're going to come out and then go back right to that same thing, just like a center of a clock, right? Fanning it all out that way. Take this guy, slide it down here. Maybe we decide we want our wave to look a little like this as we come down. All right, and then off this side, we pull off the edge, going over here, trying to leave a little dark separator in between our two little peaks of color right here. Now let's go back and soften it. All right, once you've done this, you don't need to do anything else to this section of your water. Once it's been softened, that's it. That's its final look, right? Until you go to brighten it or add more colors or change its direction. Like, that's the softness that we want to have. We want to have it like silk. Just very cool. Very cool. At least for my seascapes, that's how we want to have it, right? Now, like we said before, the pivot point, and we've come to our second one. Our second little pivoting spot, right? As our wave rotates over the side over here, it's all this white paint over the edge. We're going to come to a spot right here where we're going to go out and then again come back to the same spot over and over and over again. Boom, 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 until you rotate your wave into this pretty little heart-shaped deal. Isn't that the cutest thing? So easy. Going back to the same spot. All right, now come back in here, decide where you want to hit. And we start making little horizontal lines, just about, 3 to 4 inches. Then you move in a little closer, a little closer, a little closer, a little closer, and all of a sudden we're lined up with our wave already. All right? Now, before we do anything further, we're going to need to go back and add our eye of our wave in right here. So whatever white color we have on the brush is going to intermix with whatever undercolors that we have under there. If you want a little brighter, add a little bit more white. Go back with our 1-inch brush. Dab it off on a paper towel, nothing crazy. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to clean it. All right? Start to mix it out. You get that little soft eye. But what are we trying not to cover? All right, we have we're just playing with white paint, basically. And whatever colors start to come from this white paint is what we're playing with, right? But we can't have everything touch all together. It looks kind of silly if you lose all of your disconnects, which I like to call them. So we've got a little special word for those. Does anybody know what they're called? Or at least what Paint with Josh calls them? We call them dark separators, says Claire Dollison. And then it went away. I do custom paintings. Archery Girl said dark separators. I think she was singing right there. Could have been. Right, now we'll come over here. We're going to mix up a little paint onto the brush. A little bit more of the white, right? Haven't washed the brush yet. Now, as we come out here, they're very long, but when we start coming in, we start getting shorter and shorter and start getting more and more circular. Right? Lighter touch on the brush. Lighter touch. Look at that. And all those little guys come out, and then as they come down, right, we can rotate our little bit of wave. You don't want to add too much color because we need a place for our sand to come in and play, right? Back in there, brightening it up, but again, leaving a little dark separator in between the eye and the surf, in between the eye and the lip of the wave, and in between the eye and the face of the wave over here. Lots of dark separators everywhere. Right, now let's take our brush one more time, a little bit of white paint, and then I'm going to tell you guys the answers to the quiz. I'm going to give you a quiz, but I'm going to tell you the answers first. So all you got to do is pay attention. Can you pay attention for me just real quick? Can I have your attention, class? Can the class please give me their attention? Please rise and give me your attention, okay? I'm gonna give you the answers before we do anything. All you see me do, take a little bit of white, pull it down like that. Looks like trash. I'm not gonna leave it like that. I don't know why you would either. So, here's the 3 things we have to do. We have to pull down on this little sandy bit. Then we have to pull one way, or the other way, and then push one way, or the other way. Whatever, either which way. You're gonna tell me which way. So, do we pull down with a little light amount of pressure, or do we use a heavy, hard amount of pressure as we're pulling down on that sandy bit? You gotta let me know. Look at that wave curvature over on YouTube. Holy cow! Hard, says Airy Pressure. Morgan says, hard. Joanne says hard. Carrie Neal says hard. Melissa's hard. My goodness, me too. All right, everybody. Let's come in here. I'm going to show you a little bit, since we didn't get anybody that said light, because lots of people have seen my show by now. All right, we'll go a little bit of light pressure, and we'll just see. And then you just answer me this. Right? Light pressure one way, light pressure the other way, light pressure down and to the side. Now, would you leave it looking just like that? Right? Would you leave it looking just like that? Boothings. Thank you for catching my joke. I appreciate you. Nope. Lady Scott says, nope, I ain't leaving it like that. I'm not leaving it like that and walking away. Airy Fairy says, nah. Julia says, no. No, 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 no. No way, says Loretta. Absolutely not, says Carrie Neal. Nope, nope. Negative on the archery girl, right? So let's try it the way we like it. Hard pressure, right? We'll come down here. Lots of pressure. Bend the bristles. Boom. Shoot them up. Hit the painting box below, right? Come up again. Bend them, push them down. Bend them, push them down. Lots of hard pressure. Right now, tell me honestly, does this look more like sand than it did before? You can be honest. You can say no if you want. You're not going to hurt my feelings by saying no. You can tell me. You can tell me. Right? Might look more like sand than it did before. Right? Jedi Obi Swift says no, use a fan. Airy says ish. Cosmological Canvas says no. Tina says no. Glinda over here on YouTube says yes. Kenny says nada. Nada, right? I agree, but I told you we had to do 3 things. We had to pull it down hard. Then we have to pull it one way or the other way. Both directions, not just one or the other. Both. But you got to tell me first, do we pull it away from the wave and then push it back, right? So away, or do we push it towards the wave and then pull it away, which would be towards. So away or towards, type it in the comments. Which way are we going to go with our brush? Because one way is the right way, and one way is going to ruin your painting. Right? So Melissa says away. Loretta says away. Zigzag says Airy Fairy Faye. Chuck's Goodies says away. Boothings. That's the hardest thing to say for me. Up, up, and away. Let's see. Helen says, oh, what's that? Haley, not Helen. Haley says away. We got lots of people that have actually seen the show. Upside Down says Archery Girl. You mods think you're funny. You mods think you are funny. Until you're not mods anymore. And then it's no more fun. Watch it. Okay, let's pull away with that hard pressure. Hard pressure. Right now. Tell me now, does that look a little bit more like wet sand? Even though our space of our where our water is going to touch it is a little bit bigger, at least now it's a little bit more smooth. Looks a little bit more like sand. Here's the last part, right? We pulled down. We pulled away. Now we have to sweep it. We got to push it forward by taking the brush and sliding that paint towards the next bit of color, but not allowing them to touch completely, leaving a slight little dark line in between them. And that way, your water will sit up, and that way it'll flow across the sand, just like that. Very cool, guys. Very, very cool, guys. Now, I'm going to come in again, a little bit more brightness on my brush, a little bit more white, because right down underneath the crashing spray bit, I want it to be a touch brighter, right? So again, pulling away, pushing towards, getting it up there until you got that little dark separator. Bang. That way we've got a little bit of brightness right there. Water set up, looking really fine. Just looking fine. Now, we're out of paint. We got to come back and mix up some deep dark colors. So, which of these 3 deep dark colors do we mix in order to create a deep, dark, shadowy mix. And we don't need a whole lot because we don't have much area to cover, not with this deep, dark paint. All right, we don't have much left to go on this one, guys. So start coming up with a name for this painting. We are going to try to figure out who purchased it and then name it. So I'm going to have to turn off one of the streams in order to access my store. Oh, man! All right, let's come in here. We'll decide which one a little bit later. As I come in, I'm not going to blend out all these strokes because I want to have a few little brighter areas and a few darker areas. Just a little bit of detail, right? Little things that you didn't have to add, you didn't have to do. Little bits, a little softer, okay? Now we're going to come in with probably one of the most vital points of the whole thing. You painted a gorgeous painting so far. Now comes the part where we do the spray, where we're literally taking a bunch of darkness and just smashing it onto the canvas. But if you don't do it correctly, it's not going to come out correctly, right? So let's get a little bit of dark. I'm going to come in here. We're going to see our dark separator. It comes up, it turns, it goes over here, it's winding, it's coming up underneath, and then boom, right? Coming down. So let's attach ourselves underneath here with just the corner. Not coming at it like this. That's not going to do anything, right? We're going to be able to touch it once, and then all the paint is going to be off of the tip of the brush. And you won't be able to use that section anymore, right? So let's come at it from the side, just like we do when we're making trees. And we just tap a couple little taps into there. Just a couple little things. It's like, right? The more you go, the more you tap, the more you push, the more you're slapping the whole brush against the canvas now, right? Smushing at it, getting it all crazy, going all over the place, right? As long as we're covering up all that other light, that's all we need. We're not trying to cover up all of this original dark shadow, though. You gotta have that spot. That spot you don't want to cover up. So let's take our mist, smash in a bunch of this color all over the top of it. Our little water, our crashy bits, right? Looks really cool. Looks a little funky. You're like, oh my goodness, what have you done? Why don't we take a liner brush and let's see if we can't grab a couple little bits of paint. Just drag them down with the little eyes. A couple little details of our eyeballs as they whip down our over the eye of our painting. Very neat. Start doing so many of them, they look so cool, and then you're like, don't do too many. Okay, let's come back in here. Let's grab up our white brush that we were using in order to make our clouds and our seascape and our big wave and all the waterfalls and all the stuff. And let's come back in with a little bit of liquid white on it. So you gotta have a little touch of that liquid white. And we're gonna pop it right in here into our white section. You can see it's a very wet, sloppy, runny paint. If you spill the jar, oh boy, you're going to have a hard time cleaning it all up. Versus these paints, which don't want to come off the palette. They're like a blizzard, right? They don't want to go anywhere. Now, we're going to come along the edge, and we're going to just touch along the top of this guy, and along the top of the shadows with just the corner until we get across the top. The higher we go, the more you push in to extend your splashies. Right? And then we're going to come down here, we're going to turn the brush, start slapping into it again, just little bits, just like chopsticks. Pop, 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 sticking out like that. Using that one muscle that hurts on Josh's arm. That's why he has to wear this brace, right? This motion right here, just using that one little muscle that's in between all these other muscles. That's all we're doing. Couple little tap, 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 tap. And the more that we tap, the more that we smack, the more that we push, the more that we dab, the more that we kaploosh, the more cool it's going to look. Okay, but what we're trying to do is not cover up all of the what, right? Even though I put tons of white paint up right there, we didn't cover up all of the blanks, right? What are those blanks that we didn't cover? Come up here and make it a little bit brighter, just to have it be a touch brighter up here. All right, what do we got, guys? Dark separators. Cuckoosh, says Julia. Gagoosh. Oh, that's funny. Airy Fairy says smooth operators. Right, so even though we just smashed all this white paint on there, we didn't cover up everything, right? We're going to come back in here and we're going to start to mix it. Now, we do this twice, so don't worry about what it looks like on your first go. Right, come in there, very small, little teeny tiny touches. Not everywhere, Josh. Geez, go back down. Woo! Right, not everywhere has to be the same amount of mix. Now we come back in, same brush. A little bit more liquid white paint on it this time. Back into the pile. Gotta have that titanium white as well as the liquid white. Now we're gonna come over here and let's do it blindfolded. Blah, 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 blah. No, I'm just kidding. Sounded like the Pac-Man was that. Blah, 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 eating all the little thingies. All right, we'll come up in here just very lightly, start to smack and give a couple little bright details of water as it's smashing down in different places across the whole wave. And then over here again, just kaboosh, skablow, just whatever we want it to be like, right? Skerplow, just boom. I've run out of sound effects. Kersplarsh. Kapla-plow! Whatever you want to say. Ba-ga-ga-ga-goosh! I'm a nutcase. I don't know why you guys even watch me. I mean, partly because I'm a nutcase, I guess. That's probably why. Oh, that looks rad! Ow! Ow! Andrew Dice Josh over here. All right. Again, even though we just smashed a whole bunch of white onto that same area, we left a bunch of dark separators, right? We're going to come in here, we're going to mix it down. And we're going to mix, but we're going to touch it so much lighter because I want it to be different, have different areas. Right? Maybe this guy, just a little baby. Ooh! And then it's going to rotate and come smash. Kerboom! Splash! That's kind of weird, but whatever. All right, now here comes my most favorite bit, right? We've done this twice. Now we come in here, we grab a little bit of liquid white. This is the last and final step. So start coming up with those names for the painting. Twin Falls, Aurora's Seascape with Trees and Bushes, or something. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you guys to do it. We're going to come in here with our brush, and as we drag it across this white paint on the edge of our palette, drag it across, right? It's going to take our fan, the bristles and bring them backwards, and then they're going to flick and throw paint out onto the canvas. So we get it about 2 to 3 inches away, maybe 4 inches. Come up in here. Boom! Right? The more you splash on there, the more depth you're going to have, guys. Kerplow! Skadoosh! How you like me now? Just boom, 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 boom! Little teeny details on these guys over here. Very quiet little details. Little skadoosh! My daughter just shut her door. Boom, boom, boom! I'm here too loud for you, babe. Skadoosh! She just like step out and go, shut the door. These kids have no idea. What an embarrassing father I am. Oh, I'm so embarrassing, aren't I? Depends on who you ask, I guess. So, this one came out amazing, you guys. Just absolutely flabutastic.